I've just realised, absent-mindedly whilst chatting away, I just screwed the old beautifier ring from my Kangatech onto this battery without even bloody realising I was doing it.
14 days.
Hi guys, my name's Silicon. Not uploaded to the channel for a while. I think the last video I uploaded was either a modding tutorial, I think, for Minecraft. Been a bit out of the loop with that recently, I'll be honest. Starting to get back into it a little bit now. So I might end up doing some more with that, but I'm still getting to grips with some of the new 1.12 ways of doing things. I think Mystical Crops is a mod of mine. Probably one that I'm well known for, but maybe not known as well as for some of the larger ones. I know Mystical Agriculture is extremely popular. Credit, good on him. I'm not going to complain. I fell out behind development. Mine was starting to suffer. It wasn't doing as well. My ideas were a little bit thin on the ground, and that's absolutely fine. Don't get me wrong. But the reason for this video today, I kind of wanted to talk about this thing. I'm a vapor, basically. A little bit of history about myself. I started smoking at the age of 16 when I was in college doing media studies. And I've been smoking for about 9 years? No. About 10 and a half years, something like that. About 5 years ago, I walked into a vape shop for the first time. So I'm thinking about talking about, like, I don't know, May 2012. And I got one of the little Ego T pens. Probably hasn't even got any charge in it. The button's seized up on that one. Well, it's got no charge in it again. But one of these kind of batteries. If you've ever vaped, you'll know these. The little cartomizer on the top. You unscrewed the mouthpiece. You poured in down the side. You screwed that back on, and away you went after about 5 minutes because the silica wicks were absolutely. Oh, they were horrible. They were horrible. Well, they weren't horrible, but compared to what we have today, it's like I'm surprised I was even able to vape on the thing, you know. But obviously as time went on, I got a little bit more into it, and the Ego T cartomizer system it wasn't cutting it for me anymore. So I got a variable voltage device, because back then variable wattage wasn't really a thing, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit, because this does variable wattage, temp control, nickel titanium stainless steel. I think it's like 6 to 75 watts. Temp control. I'll go through the exact details when I'm running through this in a second, because that's what this video is about, but I'm just giving you a quick background on my vaping history. So I was on that variable voltage device, an Innokin iTaste MVP 3.0. I was on that battery for a good 2 or 3 years. I had that battery for. Real long time I had that battery for. I probably still got that battery somewhere, actually. I don't remember throwing it out. But anyway, so from that battery I also used, first thing I did is I stuck with the Ego T style batteries. Okay, well this isn't the first one I got, but this is a similar kind of device to the first one I got. Obviously I stepped up from a battery like this size to a battery more like this size, because I wasn't getting enough power out of it. It kept running out of charge, and you had to charge it by unscrewing this battery, plugging it in, leaving it for absolutely ages. Which is, if that's all right with you, that's fine. If you got a couple of spare batteries, you'd have one on the charge, one on the go. It was all right. You know, you could get by. Granted, you had to suffer with the bloody clearomizers. They were shockingly bad. Ugh. So anyway, I went looking for variable voltage, because back then you could only really get variable voltage. Variable wattage was still very much in its infancy, at least mainstream anyway. I think it was more underground, more of a niche market within the vaping market, which is quite ironic really, when vaping is a bit of a niche market itself. But you know, it's picking up some traction, so you know. So what I did, I bought a Kangatech Aerotank V1, a fully rebuildable, no, not fully, it was an all-in-one kit, but you could basically take the whole thing apart, except for the deck. You couldn't build your own wicks, you couldn't make your own cords, you couldn't wick on the deck. It wasn't an RTA. For someone who doesn't know, an RTA is a rebuildable tank atomizer. So I could take the whole thing apart, I could put it all back together again, which was great, because I could clean it, I could keep it maintained. I've just realised, absent-mindedly whilst chatting away, I just screwed the old beautifier ring from my Kangatech onto this battery without even bloody realising I was doing it. But yeah, so that was a big tank. I think it's like 4 mil capacity, I think. You compare that to a cartomizer. whoa, I was getting more vapour off it. I was getting a lot more flavour as well. I was getting a nice hit. It was lasting me a lot longer because I had larger batteries. I was very happy with it. I was still mouth to lung, not sub-ohm direct to lung vaping back then, and I was resting it on top of one of these. Still got this random beautifier ring. I've had it for ages. Eventually that tank did break, I'll be honest, and then after a while I got the iTaste MVP 3.0, but for a long time I was on something like this, not this exact one, because this is like the second one like this that I got, where you could switch the voltage at the bottom up to 4.8 volts. So it was a fairly simple system. I had another one which had like a little adjustable ring at the top here. You could move that up. It was a little bit smoother control. Analog, still analog. That one broke, I'll be honest. Variable voltage ring seized up. I think I've still got that one somewhere too. I had to stop using that one. Oh, so anyway, yeah, so then I got a Kangatech Aerotank V2 because I broke the glass on the Aerotank V1, and I was just going to buy a replacement glass because that was the best thing about Kangatech's Aerotanks. You could just take the whole thing apart. Glass broke, new bit of glass. Top broke, new bit of top. You didn't have to buy an entirely new tank. So I went looking for the glass. I was like, oh, about a couple of quid, not too bad. But obviously by this point they brought out the bloody V2, hadn't they? And the V2 had been out for a while. The glass that they were giving out was for the V2, not for the V1. So I ended up having to go out and buy another tank. I bought a Kangatech Aerotank V2 because I was in love with Kangatech. Still am. Absolutely great tank. Really good if you want to have a mouth to lung with a little bit more of a boost to it. I don't know if they're still making them. They are quite old now, but if you can get your hands on one, I do recommend it. They're a nice tank. Probably not TPD compliant though these days. But you know, anyway. One of the biggest problems I've had, and I mentioned it briefly when talking about the Ego batteries, is the charge time and having to wait between charges and constantly having to like, got to charge it again, it's going to take me about 2 hours, can't vape for 2 hours, I've only got the one battery, both batteries have run out because I'm an idiot. I did used to carry 2 batteries around, I'll be honest. So I was looking for something that I could charge and use at the same time. They call it a pass-through system, that's what I was looking for. That's what drove me to the iTaste MVP 3.0. Small vape breaker. It was the first device I bought with variable wattage. Now, I didn't use the wattage because I didn't understand it. I've got a bit more better understanding of it nowadays, but back then I was still like, I could only just wrap my head around variable voltage. I don't know, you know what I mean. Because of that, I was looking for a system which would give me that pass-through capability at sub-ohm vaping, because I did start getting into sub-ohm vaping while I still had the iTaste MVP 3.0. That battery did have variable wattage, but it didn't have the kick. Sub-ohm decks they need a lot of power to get the heat up and really punch that in your face, and my MVP 3.0 couldn't really handle that. I went to the shop and I was recommended this little bad boy. Hi guys, sorry about that vape transition there. As you can see, it's a different day, I'm wearing a different t-shirt. I got interrupted during the last recording session, so I decided to come back and do this again. It cut off just as I was starting to get into the iTaste Kroma here. I just wanted to quickly start by running through the batteries different modes. So I'm going to start by just screwing the tank on, and then the menu screen comes up asking us to select our coil. We have same, nichrome or nickel, titanium, stainless steel and wattage. Stainless steel, titanium and nickel, as you could probably imagine, are your temperature control modes, and wattage is your power mode variable wattage. So temperature control mode, this goes from 150 degrees Celsius in increments of 5 all the way up to 350 degrees Celsius. It does not round robin. If you were to push up here, you would switch to Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit goes from 300 degrees Fahrenheit, increments in 5, and this goes all the way up to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. Now just over here, I think I have this set at 40 watts in case you couldn't read that properly. And that's the ramp up power. So it will ramp up to temperature, but if you hold the power button and the down button whilst in temperature control mode, that section starts flashing, and you can edit the ramp up, ramp down wattage in increments of 5. Minimum is set for 25, maximum set for 75 on this, and that's pretty much it for temp control mode. In fact, got opportunity to show you this. If you're in temperature control mode already, we hold the power and the plus button, same as we did for changing the wattage. You see you switched over to wattage mode. Currently have this set for 35 watts, which in power mode isn't too bad, but I'm just going to rack it up to 40 watts. Now this goes up in increments of 0.5. Just before I do rack it up, I'm just going to double check exactly what the lowest limit of this is. Yeah, it's 6 watts, and this round robins to 75 watts. So you got 6 watts to 75 watts in 0.5 increments, basically. So let's crack this back up to 40. Actually, I'm going to put it at 35. And there she is, sitting at 35 watts. Fair bit of battery. I'm just going to check how much juice is in the tank. Just going to do a quick refill. This is the slipstream tank that comes included with the kit. It's a very nice tank in my opinion. It's got its max fill line there. Now when you get this, it comes pre-installed with a Canfol 0.8 ohm resistance coil already built onto the top of this deck piece here. And to replace the coils, all you have to do is unscrew that from the top piece there, replace your coil. I'm just going to put the same one straight back on, and that's it. Now the kit does come with a 0.5 ohm resistance coil as well as, that's what I currently have on here. 0.5 ohms, stainless steel 316L, which is the standard for stainless steel, 160 to 230 degrees centigrade, 320 to 446 degrees Fahrenheit is what it recommends. Now it recommends it tops out at 446, but I've been firing this at 407 degrees Fahrenheit, ramping up at 40 watts, and I've had no major issues. I've had an odd dry hit issue every now and again, but that's usually because I'm just running a little bit low on the liquid. Quick top up, quick priming the coils, not had any major issues. Surprisingly, these coils are really easy to clean out. This one doesn't currently need it, but I'll probably do a follow-up video to this at some point showing you how to clean these out. These really are really easy to clean out, and if you clean them out you get like an extra 3 to 4 weeks out of your coils depending on what you're ramping it up at, and you can wash them at least 2 or 3 times. I wouldn't recommend washing them more than 3 times because you will start to lose a bit of that decentness. So if you are using the wash and reuse method, 3 months max, 3 washes max, then replace your coil. Don't push it beyond that. Coils for this though are £4 a piece. A piece, not a packet, piece. So I definitely recommend the rinse and reuse method. And again, like I say, in the next video I will show you that. So for now, this is our tank. This is our coil with our mouthpiece. This isn't a solid unit. I can remove this 510 mouthpiece, standard size adapter. Now it does come with a plastic 510 and this metal 510. I prefer the metal mouthpiece personally, and a friend of mine at work broke his 510 mouthpiece, plastic one, so I gave him my plastic one because I don't use it. That's just me. So let's fill this tank up. So today I'm using Matinee Zero Heisenberg. This is a 70-30 VG-PG blend. Now the default of this is actually quite weak because it's majoritively VG. So what I have done, do I have any of the bottles left? Oh, there's an empty one just over there. 2 seconds. Okay, so what I've done is I have also got this Matinee Phoenix. This is a Heisenberg as well. Now this one's a 60-40, but it's not 60 VG 40 PG, it's 60 PG 40 VG. Bear with me. I bought 3 of those because I can get 3 for £9.50. It's not too bad. It's local stores off down the road from me. And basically what I did is, when this was getting a little bit lower, I took one of those bottles, I chucked that in, I shook that up. This does have nicotine in it already, by the way. I added a 3mg shot of nicotine to this mix when I first bought it. So this does have nicotine in it, but it is sold as a 0. So default, no nicotine in this particular product. Do I recommend this product as a base? If you like your thicker liquids and you prefer your Heisenbergs, this is a good liquid. But if you do want a little bit more flavour out of it, I do recommend doing what I did, because it is a little bit weak on the ground. So we're going to refill this slipstream tank. Just going to give this a quick shake. It's leaking a bit there. I'm going to give this a quick shake. Nothing more than that. Maybe a little bit more. Just going to give it a quick swill. That's just what I like to do. And there we go. So, child safety cap. So all you need to do, try and get this as close to the camera as I can, fill that up. You can see that coming in there, filling up the side of the tank. And I stopped just about there. So I'm not quite at the max fill end, just a little bit below. Because when you put this coil in, it does push up the size. And if you slightly overfill it, or if you put it just to the max line, or even slightly above, and I mean even slightly, it leaks out when you're screwing it in. So now to reinsert the coil. There we are. Go on, don't leak. Yes, look at that. Beautiful. Not leaked one little bit. Pretty much ready to go. Let's bang this on the top. We're still in power mode. We're running at 35 watts with a registering that coil at 0.49 ohms. And we're off. A little bit cold today. Fair bit of vapour in that. Really nice for cloud chasing. Decent flavour. And again, that was firing at 35 watts. I'm just going to bump this up to 40 watts in power mode and try this again, and we're off. So it tastes a little bit dry there. But yeah, that is not bad at all in power mode. I can't fault that. With these coils, I don't recommend going over 40 watts. Now I'm going to switch it over to stainless steel mode. The memory settings, remember what I set it at last time I was in temperature control mode. So it's at 470 Fahrenheit, firing at 40 watts, registering out at 0.51 ohms stainless steel. Got the SS there, and we're off. Bloody good this is in temperature control. Just plumes and plumes. In temperature control mode, I can draw for longer, I get more out of it. Now it has settled out about 0.51. When I'm firing, it does sort of kick itself up to 0.66. Not ideal, but that's just where I prefer it at. It's not too cold, it's not too hot, it's just about right. And it works very well with this Heisenberg. My impressions of this: pros, really simple to use, really small, really lightweight. I love how this feels in my hand. I have quite large hands and it fits in my hand quite nicely because of this pixelated grip, which is just there. Beautiful amount of grip. You're not going to drop this thing easily. This tank, the slipstream tank. With the Canthal coil in, you're looking at about 50 watts. I think is the sweet spot for the Canthal 0.8 ohm coil. It says it can do up to about 60 watts, but I wouldn't push it to 60 watts. Absolutely beautiful vape, can't fault it. Now with the 0.5 ohm head in it, like I've said, so I recommend 35 watts for that. Otherwise you will just eventually get a dry hit. It's not because you ran out of liquid, I don't know exactly what causes it, but after a while it does just give you a dry hit. Cons, this little ring. Now, it's not a big deal, this is quite loose, and if you pull it up even just ever so slightly with a little bit of pressure, I'm not putting much pressure on that, I'm just lifting it ever so slightly, and it spins free of itself. It can rest in random places and not quite work the way you want it to. I mean, that's not the end of the world, it's more of an annoyance than a put off, but it's just something to be aware of. It can be a little bit fiddly. But yeah, 55 quid. Would I recommend this for a smoker who wants to get into vaping? Honestly, no. You want to start with a mouth to lung, but this is a sub-ohm tank, and even with the 0.8 ohm coil in it, it's still below 1 ohm. It's not designed to do that. Sub-ohm vaping for beginners, it's going to knock you sideways. It is. In power mode, in temp control mode, I would recommend this as a starter kit, not for brand new vapors, but for people who are coming off the mouth to lung, starting to get into it as more of a hobby. Very good regulated battery mod. Very good. I've not tried any other tanks on this yet. I'd love to try some other tanks on this. I love me some RTAs and I want to try putting some builds on there. Because I've lost the deck bridge, I've got to find out first. If and when I do get that, stay tuned. It'll be right here. As soon as I've got to grips with the thing, we'll have something up, we'll have a step-by-step, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. But I will also be looking to get my hands on another battery, slightly higher wattage, because if I'm going to get some RTAs, I'm going to be wanting some lower resistance coils. I've been looking at fused Clapton builds and a few other bits and pieces, so anyway, keep tuned for that. 55 quid for someone looking to get into sub-ohm vaping? Yeah, I'd pay 55 quid for this. This came out of my own money. They did not send me to this. I've not been sponsored by Innokin to review this. This is just, I paid for this. This is great. If you want something a little bit more up to date by Innokin in the iTaste range, I'd go for the Kroma-A. I would prefer to have the Kroma-A just because it's not got the recessed deck and it'll sit right on the top. We don't need the deck bridge adapter. That's been me for today. I've been Swordcorn. You've been awesome. This is the Innokin iTaste Kroma. Keep on vaping. Close the bloody airflow off.